Hello Sapphics, here I am once again with another gay little video. Quick little disclaimer, I just tried to give myself a haircut, but my clip has died halfway through, which is not ideal, but I've already ordered a new one, it's fine. But like, if you see anything weird about my hair, don't tell me, I am aware. Anyways, I have been lurking around BookTube for quite some time now, and I am a big fan of those videos where people read the favorite books of celebrities or characters. I watch them all even when I don't know the characters or the celebrities. I don't care, I love judging people, so I'll comply. But I was missing something. There is a niche that needs to be filled, and that is why I have read all of the books that Jenny Schecter has mentioned on the L Word. There were surprisingly not that many. I have compiled a list, and I only found 5 books mentioned by name, which is weird since Jenny is a writer and also a reader, I presume. I have seen more books in her bookcase, but the quality, it's shit. I mean, the show is from 2003. So I found 5. The iconic party scene where Jenny and Marina meet each other covers the first 4. The first one mentioned, actually the short story that Jenny wrote herself, which she named Thus Spoke Zarathustra, which I believe she also named her own book in season 2. I'm not entirely sure. I feel like that was not just a short story. Pretty sure. But anyways, she tells this to Alice, and then Alice is like, okay, cool title. And then Marina pops in and she's like,
Thus Spoke Zarathustra. It's a Nietzsche reference.
So yeah, that's one. Then the next one that she mentions is
Come to Me
by Amy Bloom. Marina mentions a short story, and then Jenny says,
It's one of my favorite collections.
This is the only book that I had to scour the internet for this one, but it's the only one that I could find physically. Then Marina is all like, ooh, I love Amy Bloom. And then she's like, oh.
Have you read anything by Carson?
Jenny's like,
The autobiography of Eros, the bittersweet.
Then she says,
I think those books practically changed my life.
Which, interesting, also a very big claim, but and then, and this is very annoying to me, trying to make this video, Marina asks her,
what is your favorite, no, your most influential, important, life-altering book of all time?
And then they stare at each other for like a full fucking minute. Cinematic perfection, it's fantastic. Iconic scenes. Jenny is like, what's yours? Alice is like, why don't you whisper in this ear and you whisper in this ear, and then I will tell you if you guys are compatible. And then Alice never tells us what book they both whispered into her ear, and they don't tell us either, so we never find out. We never find out which book is the most vital to Jenny's existence, or whatever.
Wow.
So that's very annoying. Those were the last books that they mentioned. They never mention another book ever again on the whole show, if I am right. Maybe I'm wrong. However, Jenny is seen reading a book in the last episode of season 3 when she's in Canada flirting with that random French woman. So I looked up the title, but the title was Veronica, which I don't know if you've ever tried to look up a book with just a person name, but you will not find anything. It's impossible. But then, I think it was it was 1 season later, and I think this was in the review of the one, the only, Stacey fucking Merkin.
And do you know what Merkin means, Jolene? Vagina wig.
Who mentioned Mary Gaitskill, likening her to Jenny, or probably she was like, Jenny was trying to be Mary Gaitskill, but failed, because it was a very bad review.
Fuck you, Stacey Merkin! Fuck you!
But that is how I found the book Veronica by Mary Gaitskill. So those were the 5 books. I have done my best to find them all. I've done my best to read them all. I have not fully succeeded, but I will go over the list again and tell you what I thought about them. So the first one was Thus Spoke Zarathustra, which I really tried. I tried to read the ebook, couldn't get through. I tried to listen to the audiobook, and just everything slipped straight out of my mind. I wasn't saving a single sentence. At some point I was just like, there's no point. Nobody is forcing me to do this. I did like it. There were some lines in it. I mean, the whole book is literally just killer lines. Like, reminded me of, oh my god, Siddhartha. Jesus Christ. Okay, it reminded me of that, but I think I liked it more, but then again, I did finish Siddhartha, and I did not finish this, so I couldn't tell you what any of that has to do with Jenny, but I do think it's quite a bold move to name your own work after that. It's a bold move. It might say a lot about Jenny's belief in her own writing, honestly. I love that for her. So the next one was Come to Me. This book is massive. I don't know why. The story that they talk about,
Silver water.
which is in here, it's real. They didn't lie. But as a collection, I found this to be interesting, but also kind of mediocre. So for Jenny to say that this was like the best collection that she's ever read made me go like, has she just not read very many? Or is this her taste? It could just be her taste. This is a collection of very mundane stories, but they all have like this kind of scandalous little twist, which I guess is nice. My favorite was the first one, which is about a mother's funeral, and then as they kind of reminisce about her mother's life, realize that she was not having an affair so much as their parents were in a throuple. Exactly the juice that I love. That one was great. There's also one about a young girl who's being groomed by an older man, which was not fun, but I can see why Jenny would be intrigued with that. But the one that they talk about, Silverwater, is one about a sister who's been hospitalized for most of her adult life, but she has to come home for a while. She was hospitalized for psychotic breakdowns, by the way. I guess that's important to mention, especially in regards to Jenny and Marina. So she comes home for a while, she's not doing well, and then eventually she dies. It's kind of double. I could see why they would like that. I also think that was probably the most interesting one in the book. Like, it was the least mundane one, I would say. The next one on the list was Autobiography of Red. This was by far my favorite on the list. This is basically a really long poem. It's written in verse, but it doesn't rhyme, so I don't really know why. So it's basically just a really fast-paced retelling of a myth. I didn't know the myth, so I was just reading about a love triangle between three boys with really cool names. It had like very warm summer vibes. It was very nice. I don't know. It wasn't super deep, but then it also was a little bit. If you're looking for a short read, it was gay, which was nice. Actually, the only one on this list that was like explicitly gay, I think. Hold on. I think it parallels well with Jenny because it's also an autobiography, which Jenny would know about. The next one was Eros the Bittersweet. I downloaded it from the internet, and when I opened it, I realized it was an academic paper. I guess it was an essay. Either way, it was academic. And I was like, you know what? I can absolutely not be fucked to read this. So I didn't. It might be very interesting. It's probably very gay because it's a Sappho quote. I think the whole thing is about Sappho, but I just... No. However, the next one, Veronica. I did read this one, but I read it quite a long time ago because I started preparations for this video like last year. This one is about a woman who is reminiscing on her time as a model in San Francisco. I think she traveled quite a lot, but San Francisco felt like the main focus, looking back on it now. And then she strikes up a friendship with a middle-aged woman who's dying of AIDS. It's kind of, the vibe is very sad, but then again, it's also very quick, and the writing is kind of all over the place, so it didn't really drag me in that deep. But I do see how that would align with Jenny, because I think that's probably how Jenny writes, which is probably why Stacey Vagina Wig Merkin brought it up in the first place.
Stacey Merkin's a fucking cunt.
There was also a quote in this book which I found very funny. I just looked back on my notes that I took while I was reading it, and I marked this quote that just says, "Unstable lesbian with dark dramatic looks." Also, this book is very much about feeling alienated and not feeling at home and kind of changing yourself to fit a part or to find a place in the world. And I feel that's interesting because Jenny is reading this in the last episode of season 3, and Jenny is a different character in every single season, but she changes the most between season 3 and 4. So I found that an interesting given, but I don't know if that was intentional. The book is a little bit gay, but it's not like overtly gay. So yeah, overall, I don't think these books told me a whole lot about Jenny as a person that she didn't already tell us about herself. To this day, I think Jenny is one of the most controversial characters in the lesbian media landscape, that is, but still. I don't think there's anybody who doesn't have an opinion on her. You love her or you hate her. If you love her, you probably also still hate her because, like I said, she was a different character every season and she was literally a demon by the end of it, which was fun, honestly. I loved it. Also, I feel like we should address the fact that Jenny was on a different show than the rest of the ensemble. She was going through it while the rest of them were just
talking, laughing, loving, breathing, fighting, fucking, crying, drinking, writing, winning, losing, cheating, kissing, thinking, dreaming.
I guess that's also how she felt most of the time. So that does work in a way, weirdly. I think Jenny was done a huge disservice by both the writers and the viewers. I think a lot of the time we forget that she came into the show as a survivor. She was dealing with horrible trauma and she was extremely mentally unwell. She didn't really know where she was going in life and she had a lot of like shocking experiences happening to her coming into the show, finding out that she was a lesbian. It was big for her. She was going through a lot, and honestly, season 2 Jenny is my girl. She was the moment. She was ahead of her time. She was the sad girl of 2004. We also need to talk about her speech to Mark.
It's not my job to make you a better man, and I don't give a shit if I've made you a better man. It's not a fucking woman's job to be consumed and invaded and spat out so that some fucking man can evolve.
Literally earth-shattering. Like, that speech will always stay with me. Groundbreaking. She was making so many points, and we do not give her enough credit. She was a feminist before it was cool. She was just a girl with mental illness who was trying to deal with life, and she was doing it fine up until Stacey Merkin pushed her over the edge. It's not her fault. She was done very dirty by everyone on the show, and so then she decided it was payback time. And no, I don't forgive her, actually. I would have killed her too. Yeah, no, she had that coming.
C'est la vie.
But still, I find it a bit unfair to judge her without taking into consideration that she was not in an okay place ever throughout the whole show. And also, clearly, Jenny and her drama was the driving force of the show. Because look at the reboot now. It's just not as juicy without her, is it? Oh, my phone is almost dead. That's great. I am by no means saying that Jenny is my favorite character, although she's not my least favorite either. I'm not too controversial. It's just that Carmen doesn't seem like somebody who reads, and anyway, that's not why I like her so much. I was gonna say something else. Anyway, this has been a lot of fun. If I had to recommend you one of these books, it would definitely be Autobiography of Red. It was very good, it was very short. If you know of any other literate lesbians, sapphics, the lesbians, I don't fucking care, tell me. I would love to read their favorite books. That was it for today. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, I guess I'll see you next time.